I did it! I managed to break the Silksong any % speedrun world record once again, this time being the first ever person to break the 1 hour and 10 minute barrier. I'm quite proud of this run, and it shows off some of the insane discoveries us speedrunners have been making over the last few days. This run was actually not recorded on stream, so I'll be commentating this run in post and explaining a bunch of the strats as we go. This way you can see the record and you can learn about the run at the same time. Sounds great, right? Anyway, if you enjoy the video, subscribe. I think I'm going to continue pushing this record down if I can, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, let's go. So, the overarching structure of this run is pretty simple. We start by getting all the abilities, so that being the Silk Spear, followed by the Sprint ability, followed by the Cloak ability, because this is called the Cloak route, what we're doing, and then getting Claw and the Needle in, and then we need to get to the Citadel. Now, there are two ways to get to the Citadel in Hollow Knight Silksong. The first one, the most intended route, so to say, is fighting the last judge in the Blasted Steppes, for which you have to unlock 5 different bell shrines in order to even do that in the first place. This is incredibly slow, so we're going to do something else called the Mist route. So by going through Phantom and the Mist, by entering through the Sinner's Road, we can actually enter the Citadel from that direction, and it saves a lot of time. The only problem is that the Mist is absolutely terrible. It is basically RNG. It's a luck-based segment where the rooms are random and the exits are random. And we'll get to the Mist a little bit more, and I'll explain some of the advanced strategy that we're doing there. Because we've learned quite a lot of about the Mist in the last few days, as we've been discovering how the game works. Anyway, so the early game right here is pretty simple. We're going to be doing these air slashes, these air pogos, because they actually propel Hornet forward a little bit. And then it's just moving in the right direction. Now, these air pogos you actually have to do at a certain height above the ground, because otherwise she bumps into the ground and it doesn't give you a speed boost. So here we do a pogo into the weakness cutscene, which propels Hornet forward quite a good bit, and actually skips about 1 to 2 seconds of this weakness cutscene. So it's a very, very neat little trick that you can do in order to save time in the early game. At the time of recording this run, this was done at about 1:30 midnight. I had just streamed speedruns for like 8 hours, and I took a break, and I was like, okay, I actually kind of want to do one more attempt before I go to bed. And that's what you're watching. I did one attempt, and that's what this run turned out to be. At the time of recording it, the world record was a 1:10:29, and my personal best was a 1:17:05, as you can see on the timer right there. So I had quite a ways to go, but on the stream before the run, I had actually gotten an insanely good pace, which I think it was a little bit faster than this run going into the end game, but it died to the High Halls Gauntlet Arena, which is the biggest choke point of the entire run. It's the hardest section, and it's the easiest one to mess up. So I've lost quite a couple of good paces to the High Halls Gauntlet. Another thing you're seeing there is that by pogoing the first hit on these little doors, you can actually do the first needle hit a little faster after. Now, for Moss Mother, the most important thing to do is to lure her to the right, because the ceiling is lower to the right, so when she does the head slam attack, you can actually keep spamming needle hits. As you can see, I'm going to go under her to the right once again here, to get her to attack to the right once again, and we can finish off the fight really quickly while kind of face tanking. So this was a pretty decent Moss Grotto segment overall, which I was quite happy about, because really there's not much to this segment. You just kind of do it over and over again. It might get a little bit repetitive in the future, but I still think it's quite fun. And of course, the atmosphere and the music is so wonderful that it is a joy to traverse it, even though you've done it a billion times already, you know? Because honestly, Hollow Knight Silksong is just so fantastic. Now, another thing that might come to mind is the fact that we are playing in Chinese. You might have noticed that the game is in Chinese, and the reason for this is actually because the text skips a lot faster in Chinese. Now, excuse me if this is not exactly a correct explanation, but the way I understand it is simplified Chinese. One English word can be compressed into 1 or 2 symbols, so the amount of text, the amount of symbols in the game just drastically decreases. And for some reason, Hollow Knight also loads the text boxes faster, so they scroll in a lot faster when there's less text. So because of that, playing in Chinese, you can absolutely shred through the dialogue of the game and just go through it really quickly. And I think in a run like this, we haven't fully timed the languages yet, since we were just basing it off how Hollow Knight worked. But my gut feeling is that playing in Chinese saves about a 1 minute or a half, maybe 2 minutes even. Just because of the sheer amount of dialogue in the game, especially now that Hornet responds to everything that NPCs say to her. Now what we're going to be doing here is called the Beastfly Pogo. Now luckily it's not the Savage Beastfly, otherwise it would give you, a lot of you at least from what I've heard on the internet, traumatic flashbacks to your first playthrough of Silksong. But this little buggy right here, we can lure in this specific way in order to skip the arena down here on the way down to Sherma, and instead simply... Okay, well it didn't work because the setup was annoying. Like that little spider crawly guy in the way is super annoying to do this setup. It is a consistent setup, but sometimes the random spawn of the spider dude, it blocks the way. I did manage to get a pretty nice second attempt though, so that's pretty good. Now as you can see here, once again, we're spamming through the dialogue really quickly. Chakra loves saying Poshanka like a billion times, which is very humorous to me. I think it's quite silly. And now we're gonna make our way up to the Silk Spear. Now, as you can see, I'm continuing to do this pogo movement. Here, there's these moss-spitting enemies that I found a pretty good way to avoid without trouble. You can slash that projectile in the air just like that in order to avoid it. And right here, we're gonna route the rosaries for the run. Now, in the new patch that Team Cherry released, the first update for Silksong, they actually increased the amount of rosaries that you get by about double from relics and the coral cylinders. So the rosary problem of the game that a lot of people were complaining about has been largely addressed, which is a really, really nice change, and kind of resolves the main problem that I had when I was playing Silksong. Because I think this game is a masterpiece. I think it's the best game ever made, but having to farm so many rosaries from enemies all the time was a little tedious. So I'm glad they addressed that. We also did a little nice enemy pogo. We call that one the Archie pogo. We call that little Achnid right there the Archie. And you can just pogo up them to skip about 5 seconds to get up to the Silk Spear. Now, we have our first ability just like that. Now we're going to have to fight the Bellbeast, because the only way into the Marrow from here is fighting the Bellbeast. Now, in this Bellbeast fight, there is actually a cycle skip that you can do. It's very precise, and it depends a bit on the luck you get in the fight, where you can kill the boss as it transitions into the phase change where she disappears completely from the arena and just spams bells at you for about 10 seconds. So if you can get that cycle skip, it's quite a big time save. I wasn't able to do it in this run because, as I said, it is a bit RNG based. So really we're just attacking at full speed, trying to squeeze in as many hits as possible and using the Silk Spear when we can. As you can see, I face tanked it a little bit there to stay closer. Now the jump attack is the best attack you want, and the walk across attack is the second best one. Now here's the phase change. I missed the Silk Spear accidentally, and now we have to wait for the bells, which is understandable, but as we get better at the game, as we increase the optimization of the run, we're gonna have to start going for this one. Now this bell attack right there is the worst attack you can get, because you can only hit her twice, and she disappears again really quickly. As you can see, there she is, defeated. Pretty fast fight, all things considered. I exited this fight about 8 seconds ahead, which is quite nice. So we do love to see the time save, absolutely. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm still thrilled from the excitement of getting the run. I just got it like a couple minutes ago, so I'm recording this right after, because I wanted to put it out. Because the last time I got a world record for Silksong, about 2 days ago, it was beaten 7 minutes later. So hopefully I can hold this one for a little bit longer. I mean, we'll see if that happens or not, but regardless, I'm still proud of this run. So if it gets beaten or not, you know, it doesn't matter. I managed to get a good run that I'm proud of. It's still improvable. I can still probably get a 106 or maybe a 105 even with my current strats if I just polish up a little bit. Because I got really nervous in the second half, and I feel like I lost a lot of time there. But we'll see that when we get there. Anyway. Now we're going to go over to get the Swift Step, the Sprint ability. And this is going to change the playstyle completely. This ability is so awesome. And we've learned quite a lot on how to make Hornet as absolutely fast as possible at any given time. So the fastest way to move is actually to do a jump and then dash, and do that over and over again. So Hornet's hopping all over the place. It's about 6% faster than the full sprint, and you get more control of her. Now up here, we're just gonna traverse all the way over to the Swift Step, so we're gonna go to the Deep Docks quite soon. Now, as you can see here, I hit this bell, and then I reload the room to skip the animation, and that saves a lot of time. Otherwise, we would have to wait for the bell to ring and then the bench to appear. So we instead just hit the bell, or hit the lever, leave the room, and come back. And that's it, done. I'm still doing the pogos in the air to save a little bit of time. This can definitely be optimized further, but it doesn't save all that much time. It's mostly just fun to do, because it makes the early game movement a little less just like walking and jumping. Now another feature of the air pogo that you can see right here is that it's actually quite usable for both traversal, but also to avoid hard falls. And you'll see that in this room, as we use it in the air to slow us down and avoid those spikes. So we can actually do some pretty cool room routings to optimize quite a lot here. As you can see right there, I'm using it a lot to make sure that I land on the platforms and keep propelling myself further at full speed as much as I can, really. Now, we are going into the Deep Docks now. This area is pretty chill. We only really stay in it for a short amount of time. And what we're going to be doing up here is a pogo on the Bellhead enemy. I found this consistent setup where you can lure this Bellhead, and they'll take a long path through the room as we climb up. And you lure them like this, and then you bounce on their head, and that's about a 5-second time save, just like that. And I found that that one is pretty consistent. It works for me quite well. There's probably a better lure to get it a little bit faster. I did fumble this movement a little bit in here, but I managed to recover it quite nicely. There's a little unpolished early game movement. I'm a little tired right now, and I was tired when I was doing the run as well. As you can see, this deer did not want to cooperate. I wanted to pogo up there, the bony deer. I do think those enemies are very cute, though. Here you'll see some fun wall climb, the ledge grab movement. So another thing that we've been learning how to do is to climb really quickly. And up ahead we have the first ever enemy arena against these ants on the way to the dash ability. Now, as you can see, I'm going to be using my Silk Spear quite a lot. We found out that it deals exactly 3 times your needle damage, regardless of when you upgrade. So when you upgrade, it'll still deal 3 times the needle damage. So it's quite strong. There's also a thing called a needle animation cancel, where you can get your Silk Spear off a little bit sooner after a needle hit, because usually there's a bit of lag before and after, because you actually have to finish your needle animation. You have to finish your needle animation before you cast the Silk Spear. And what you can do is you can hit with the needle and then turn around, which cancels the needle animation, and then turn back around the direction you were facing in the start and use the Silk Spear. And it saves 11 frames, and it lets you get off the Silk Spear much easier without losing as much height and, you know, faster, really. So it's a really good piece of tech that we are going to be implementing a lot more in combat. This was something that was found, I think, yesterday, so I'm still, like, not super confident using it. And as you can see, we have the Swift Step ability in under 12 minutes, which is quite a good pace. Now we're going to make our way down to fight Lace, which is super awesome. The Lace fight I am quite familiar with. I speedran the demo when I played it at Gamescom. And on my first playthrough, I actually did the fight hitless on my first try, which was pretty cool. Here, though, we're going to see quite a different playstyle. As you can see, the jump dashes right there are the fastest way to move, as I explained. And we're just going to start the fight. And we're going to be doing a little bit of face tanking, playing as aggressive as possible, using the Silk Spears whenever she's out of range, because I found that it's more consistent to just wail on her with the needle. Now, this was not a very well-played fight. I took a lot more damage than I needed to, and it was a little embarrassing to go down on 1 HP like that. But, you know, I had a good idea of her health. I know how the attacks work now. And I will admit I got a little nervous here. It would have been super embarrassing to die to her. But I did end up losing 1 or 2 seconds from the unpolished fight. I was still on a pretty good early game pace though. And there's a bench right ahead. Something that's really nice in the Silksong speedrun is that a lot of the benches just happen to be on the way. Again, we're doing the room leave here to skip the animation of the bell shrine. But there you go. And as you can see, we're doing this jump dash movement. So spamming the jump into a dash whenever we can is going to be the way to move faster. Now, this movement is awesome, except for that. I took a little dunk there because I wasn't paying attention. It's really scary to go full speed so early into the game's lifespan, because we haven't really, like, fully internalized the room layouts here. So really, we're just, like, throwing ourselves at some of these rooms, and I'm just, like, trying to do it as quickly as possible and having confidence. Right here is a cool little strat where I pogo this one after a big leap. Now, we are going to bench at the seamstress, and we're going to have to do her quest of flexile spines in order to get the Drifter's Cloak, the float ability. Now, there are actually route suggestions where we don't get the cloak. These are called the floatless routes, and they comprise of the flea route, where you take the fleas to Greymore to skip the Morwing fight, and the key route, where you buy a simple key. As you can see, I'm farming these throwy guys for the spines. This is very RNG, because they can shoot a random amount of projectiles. And trying to do this quickly and aggressively is really awkward. But once they shoot twice, see, that one flew away into the airstream. I managed to catch 2 of those without them falling into the lava. You need 25 of these, by the way. So right here, you know, we're trying to hit the one that goes away to the left in the air, so that we can still catch that one. And after we hit them twice, we can just kill them and they'll shoot the 3rd wave. As you can see, those 2 latch onto the wall right there. And I think I'm going to need a couple more. The decision making here is something we're probably going to get better at as we go. But for now, it's just a little awkward. I think I needed... Yeah, there you go. It shines yellow in the bottom left corner. That's how you know you have 25. And just like that, we're quitting out. We benched at the seamstress, so we can just quit right back out and go get our spell. Not our spell. Now, on the way out of here, usually you would have to fight the giant automaton, the 4th chorus boss fight. Turns out, you can just leave. It's actually really, really cool. You can just leave the boss with the cloak. There's no wall blocking it to the left or anything. And you can actually do this without a heal air stall. So something you can use is your heal in order to stop your fall acceleration when you're drifting with the cloak. And we can use this to get just enough distance. But as you can see, there's a little hidden room here where we can get full silk, which is just a little bit of time save. Before we were getting silk from the automaton itself. I did try the heal-less version here. It's insanely precise. So it's understandable that I missed it. But luckily, missing it doesn't lose any time, because you can just try it again with the heal. And just as you can see, you barely get enough distance to latch on to the wall right there. And we can leave the area just like that and just go. And now we're going to head up to Greenmore. So that's pretty exciting. And as you can see, we're taking these airstreams, trying to hit these rocks to activate them as optimally as possible. And here we get to pass Sherma. So everyone say hi to Sherma in the YouTube comments or something. Hi, Sherma. And we carry on, basically. So as you can see, I'm sprint jumping all over the place. And I'm trying to navigate these rooms as quickly as possible. Now, Greymore, we really only have to do in order to progress to other areas. So both to get to Bellhart and Shellwood for the Claw and Needle-In abilities quite soon, but then also later in order to have a path into Sinner's Road, which we can use to get to the Mist. As you can see, we're just floating up these streams, just like that. I'm on very good pace at this point in the run, 23 seconds ahead, and I'm going to be quite far ahead of my personal best, 48 seconds ahead going into Greymore. So I'm playing quite well. I feel like I'm finally getting really solid at the movement. These enemies are a little awkward. This bell thrower is awkward, so I just knocked them off the platform. did plummet in the water there and lost like half a second. That one always jumps back, so we pogo them real quick. And we're just gonna pass by the halfway home, and we're gonna rush our way all the way to Morwing. Now there is a little arena here, which I can optimize by trying to use the Silk Spear to hit both enemies. It doesn't always line up in a way where you can do it, but that is generally what you want to be doing in these arenas. Anytime there's like an enemy arena with multiple targets, you want to try to hit them as quickly as possible and hit as many with the same attack as possible in order to basically multiply the damage output you're doing. And avoid one enemy being remainder alive. Now this movement is pretty sick actually. As you can see, we're doing the ledge grabs, and just like continuing to the next wall and dashing right away. A very, very aggressive playstyle. It is insanely fun to do. This game is just so awesome. The movement is so satisfying. Now I am heading into Morwing with 4 HP, which is not ideal. I would love to have full health considering they can kill me in 2 hits. But, you know, worst case, if we get hit, I can just heal mid-fight during a stagger. Ideally, we would get to use all of our Silk for Silk Spears. I did get hit right there, so I decided that I would try to heal on a stagger, which I did right there. So that is technically a little bit of a time loss, but, you know, these fights are hard. So, I mean, Morwing got a little bit nerfed. I was fumbling. This is not a good Morwing fight. I decided to take another heal, and now from here on out, I just played really aggressive. I was trying to play so aggressive that I kind of got caught in the attacks. As you can see, I did not play this fight very well. But even going the face tank approach eventually kills the boss just like that. And now I was actually on quite incredible pace right there. As you can see, I was 55 seconds ahead of my personal best of 117. And at this point, I think probably about 10 or 20 seconds ahead of the world record. Which was very nice. Now, we are in Bellhart now. I did grab the bench, I think, just for the quick heal. Or I skipped it. I might have been on full health. Yes, I was on full health. So I skipped the bench. And we keep on running. Now, the goal here is going to be to get the claw ability. And we get a lot of really fun movement through these rooms right here. These have gotten quite optimized. I was doing some weird stuff before, but turns out you can just run across here and just send it full speed on the sprint this direction right there. And it is really exciting, but it also is quite scary because you can fall and lose like the entire room worth of time save. Now, get stick bugged, the stick bug arena. This one is really awkward because sometimes you can't Silk Spear both of them. And you leave like one alive. There's a strat here where you want to jump to hit the flowery guy first, but I kind of messed it up this run, so we ended up leaving the flowery guy alive at the top as kind of a bottleneck, which lost me like a couple seconds. So it was really awkward, and I did end up on 2 HP after the arena, which was not ideal. Now usually to get the claw ability, the wall climb, you have to fight Sister Splinter. We don't want to fight Sister Splinter. She's hard, and she takes a lot of time to beat. So instead, we're going to use a game mechanic that Team Cherry left in the game that is, frankly, insanely awesome. You know how Hornet has a taunt button? Well, that's going to be relevant. Now, here is the best room in the game. I think this is the most fun room in the game. It's just so satisfying to do at full speed. Just bonk, 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 you know? It's amazing. It's so satisfying. Now in this room, we are going to be using the taunt ability, because the taunt actually lures enemies towards you if you didn't know that. So this little flowery friend is going to help us skip Sister Splinter. We call this the Splinter skip, or the Garama skip, for obvious reasons. As you can see, I lure them in here, and then I actually aggro them, because after they've attacked, they actually float away quite quickly. I do accidentally aggro them again, but as you can see, they float up right there. And I just line it up and I pogo. And now I am able to skip Sister Splinter. We are in the post-boss area on the way up to the Weaver Shrine. Now here I am doing some quite aggressive movement, because I've gotten quite decent at this segment, just like going full send on it. And the longer the run develops, the more time that passes, the more segments are going to get optimized to this level. Which is quite exciting, because the movement in this game is so insanely fun. It is very difficult, and there's a lot of nuance to it, and there's a lot of scary moments where you're running at full speed. But as you can see, right there, we've got the claw ability. I almost said claw and cloak at the same time. At this point, I had a quite insane pace of getting claw at 22:36, being a minute and 29 ahead of my personal best, as you can see on the timer. So I was getting a little nervous, but at this point I had already been on quite a lot of paces that were of similar speed. And now we were gonna go down to fight the Widow, which is actually a required boss. I did take a little fall here, but it's actually not a problem at all, because we can just go around right there. Now, on the way to Widow, I discovered a cycle that is quite aggressive, where we damage tank one of the big bell flying guys. And because we got a full heal of silk worth on the claw pickup, we can actually heal back up to full for the Widow fight. So right there, I take a heal in the screen transition and just fall down. And now I'm on full health for the Widow fight. I actually think this is one of the best fights in the game. It's probably like top 6 best fights. This one is just so much fun. And it's fun to get good at. As you can see, we can do these pogo dashes. Or pogo dash into side slashes whenever she does the running attack. Now we actually don't really want this running attack unless we want to heal. So the more the time goes on, the more that's going to become a annoying attack that loses you time, because she disappears from the arena. Now this pattern was not like super amazing. There's a lot of like bells in the way. You really want to be dealing damage to her at all times. As you can see, the first phase was pretty smooth either way though. I've been getting quite good at this fight, and playing it aggressive is definitely rewarding. Now in this second phase, I actually suck at dodging her slash attack, because when you're playing so close and aggressive to her, it's really hard to see and react in time. As you can see, I got dinked by it and I had to heal because I got to 1 HP. So this was definitely a bit of a fumbled fight for me. I can do this one a lot better, and I can actually save quite a bit of time there. But as you can see, that's Widow defeated. No problems. At this point, we are on quite an insanely good pace. And that's Widow in under 25 minutes, which is, I think, tied with one of my best paces ever, this 24:53. So at this point, I was quite excited, really, about, well, where this run was heading. But now we have the Mist, which is a big choke point in the run. And I'm going to do my best to give a thorough explanation on the Mist as we get to it, so that I can then explain my decision making. So the Mist is a random area, where there are 8 total room layouts that can spawn in a random order, and every room has 1 correct exit. And usually you need to play the needle in to the butterflies, which also have random spawns, in order to get the correct directions. Now, over the last few days, there has been incredible discoveries about the Mist that are helping us make fast and good decisions. Now, this area is sadly very luck dependent, because of the fact that it's all random, right? And, you know, the amount of time that it takes to traverse to the correct direction, the amount of time it takes to find the flies in the first place, if there's wraiths in the way, it's all very random, really. But we're learning to do it. So the key things to keep in mind for the Mist, and a lot of these discoveries were made by a person called Ox, who has been compiling incredible resources about the Mist. So a big shout out to Ox. They are incredible, and they helped a lot with. They helped all of the runners who are throwing themselves at the Mist currently to do this a little bit better and to make slightly faster split-second decisions in order to not lose their entire paces to the Mist. So for the Mist, you would think that you had to play the needle in on every single room, but you actually do not. So when you enter the Mist, you do 2 rooms correctly with the needle in, and then when you do the 3rd room, you can take any side exit, and it will take you to the halfway point corridor. So on the 3rd room, we don't even need to worry about the needle in, we just need to find the closest sideways exit. Now, this little cutscene here, we are actually going to quit out to main menu in order to skip this animation of the bell once again. And then we're going to go past Bellhart real quick, upgrade our needle for free, and get the Bellway Stag for the second needle upgrade later in the run. So as I said, you have to do 2 rooms correctly in the mist, and then the third one, you can always take any side exit, and it'll work. And then when you go past the crossing, you have to do 1 more room correctly, and then the final room, when you've done the 5th room, when you're on the 5th room, I mean, the exit will always be to the right, because the final corridor towards the Exalted Organ is always, you're entering that one from the left, because you entered the mist from Sinner's Road, due to the layout of the map in the game. So what that means is that the final exit of the mist is always going to be to the right. But there are 2 of the 8 room layouts in the mist that have 2 right exits. Now for the 3rd room, you can take any side exit, but for room 5, there's actually only 1 right exit that's correct. So if your 5th room has 2 side exits, or 2 right exits, you have to either play the needle in order to figure out where you are, which one you need to go to, or you need to do something else, which is called room juggling. Now, room juggling is a really cool mechanic, and it's the fundamental thing that allows us to make decisions in the mist. Now, what room juggling means, basically, is that you can go back, you can double back into the room you just came from, and it'll still hold your score of completed rooms in the mist. So let's say I enter the mist, and I do room 1. And on the way out of room 1 towards the exit that the flies lead me to, I see another spot of flies that are quite close to that exit. And I'm like, oh wow, I'll take note of that in my brain. And then when I enter the second room, I can go back into the room I just came from, and what was now the first room will become the second room. And the flies are going to stay there, which is going to allow us to quickly locate the flies and take another exit. And the solution of the puzzle is going to change, of course, because it can never be the room you just came from. So let's say we enter the first room from the right, and the flies lead us all the way up to the left, and then we go back in from the left, and there's flies there, and then that leads us, let's say, up. And then we've done 2 correct rooms, which means that the third room will always be a side exit. So that one we don't even need to worry about, we just rush it to a side exit. Now, this section of the run was actually really brutal before, until we found something called Timothy Chalamet Skip. Now, Timothy Chalamet Skip is an absolute run saver. Now, there's this enemy in Sinner's Road that when they attack, they say, Chalamet, Chalamet. It's this one right here with the spiked bolas. This is Timothy Chalamet. We're gonna bounce on him 3 times with the cloak right there. That's Timothy Chalamet Skip. We have now skipped the worst room in the game, which is this one to the right, which is absolute brutality to run through in a speedrun. And the discovery of that skip right there has done wonders for the survivability of the runs, because it allows you to get to the mist on full health most of the time. Now right here we're going to enter the mist, and I'm going to narrate my decision-making process in real time, based on the explanations that I've given you. So right here, we enter the first room, and I'm just locating flies. I know that this is the really tall room. There's only 1 really tall room. And I'm just hoping I can find the flies real quick, and I'm hoping I don't fall into the void, because that actually resets the entire area. There we have some flies. So I play the needle in for them, and I see which way they are going. So on the way up, I take note, I'm taking the left exit here, and there's no flies on the way. So I decide to not juggle this room. Now in this room right here, I go down, I see some flies right there. Very nice. You do love to see this room because it's actually quite easy to find the flies most of the time. I dodge the trap, I take it down. Now this is room 3. We can take any side exit. So I just book it to this direction until I get to the right exit. Now we're in the halfway crossing. So now when we pass this one, we need to do 1 more correct room, and then the exit will always be on the right. So right there I find some flies. I do take a little awkward fumble here. The raids are really awkward, and they spawn more and more the more rooms you do. I accidentally fell off there, and I don't think my needle in had the range. So I decided to try to play the needle in without alerting that wraith right there, which I managed to. And this one led me up, which was super nice. Now once you know which way you're going, so this room, this is the last room. I know that this is a room that only has 1 right exit, because I recognize the layout. and I could just sprint out. And that's the mist right there. And I played a really good mist with good decision making, a couple fumbles, but as you can see, I was now 1 minute and 55 seconds ahead of my PB, and about 1 minute ahead of world record. And I was actually full health. I made it through the entire mist without taking damage, which was fantastic. So I opted to skip the bench here in Phantom. Now these cycles right here are quite scary. They're not actually that scary. They're a little bit awkward though when you're nervous, because getting a run through the mist is like, that's such a choke point that you can get really nervous if you're on good pace coming out of the other side. And at this point I was starting to get a little bit nervous, because at this point this was my best pace ever at this point in the run. Now as you can see, the Phantom fight is quite simple. I tried to play quite aggressive. We really like the attack right there where she jumps up into the sky and throws her needle at you, because it's free needle damage. Her pin, I mean. She has a pin, not a needle. Hornet has a needle. As you can see right there, this attack we don't really like because she disappears from the screen. We can't really deal damage to her. The parry's a little awkward. I still sometimes parry her by accident. I was 2 hits away, or 2 health away from dying, which is a one-shot, so I decided to use my Silk to heal to make sure that I didn't die. Because right now, surviving the bosses is, you know, you're trying to play fast, but it really is all about not dying, basically. Alright, so here's the phase change. We do have to wait for her to do all 5. And now she teleports. I dodged the parry right there. And she keeps doing the teleport, which is a little awkward. It loses you a little time. So I was hoping to get patterns that didn't do that. And there she does it again. And that's a stagger. And I managed to play a really strong Phantom fight. I didn't really fumble anywhere, and I didn't really get nervous. And just like that, Phantom was defeated. There you go. As you can see, it was a pretty insane best split ever for me. That's 18 seconds faster than I've ever done the Phantom fight. So now I was getting quite nervous. This was my best pace ever by far going into the second half of the run. Which was absolutely terrifying. Because the second half of the run, what you've witnessed up until now, is the easy part. Even the mist is the easy part. The second half is brutal. It's insanely difficult compared to the first half. So not getting nervous here is the name of the game. And it is not an easy game to play, because the game is named Hollow Knight Silksong, and it's incredibly difficult. Like, even us speedrunners are struggling. The world record that I actually beat, the 1:10:29 by Onaku, was actually the first ever deathless run recorded. Like, the first ever deathless speedrun. This run actually is not deathless. It has a death a little bit later. Now, right here, we're going to get the Bellbeast station right there, the Grand Bellway. I keep calling them stag stations because of my memory from Hollow Knight. And just like that, we've entered Act 2 on a pretty unprecedented pace. It was definitely my fastest pace, a 34:26 Act 2 entry. Certainly something to be thrilled about, but also something that was terrifying me in the moment, because I was now on a pace that was so much faster than anything I'd ever gotten to this point before, because I play the Mist and Phantom so well. Now we have a little cutscene with Lace here, where we're just gonna spam through. And as you can see, the shakiness is gonna take its toll on my momentum in a couple seconds. You're gonna see me fumble a little bit with this room movement, which is understandable given the nerves. But somehow I didn't completely destroy the run right here, at least. I got sniped by that enemy. I guess they got really good training at the Citadel School of Throwing Pins. I completely fumbled the wall jump there. I got hit twice by that enemy. It was a travesty. Now, luckily, out of Phantom, because you get a new Silk skill, you actually get a full bar of soul. Of Silk, I suppose. So I decided to take the heal right here, while waiting for this cog to spin around. And now we are going up to fight the Cogwork Dancers to gain access to the Cogwork Core. Now, the Cogwork Dancers are a really cool fight. I almost dashed into that mist right there. The air vents. Luckily, I managed to not fumble it completely. The Cogwork Dancers are a really cool fight. Obviously, it's a very tragic battle on a thematic level. But for the speedrun, it's really interesting because they actually they do not have a shared health pool. So you deal damage to one of them, and then you have a task of keeping track of that dancer so that you can damage them and stagger them as quickly as possible. Because the fight takes place in 3 phases. Now, as we do this fight right here, first of all, there is a little bit of a scream skip. On the first one, on the very first phase, we just stand inside the boss as it starts, and we gain control of our character, and we can do some extra needle hits before they start moving. Now, they do deal double damage. We have 5 HP. It's pretty self-explanatory that this is terrifying, even though it is not the hardest fight in the game. For some reason, I'm struggling with this one recently. It's a bit of a choke point. I think it's just awkward to maneuver around, especially when you're playing one of them so aggressive and you're trying to deal needle damage to it. We do have the parry skill. Right there, I took an accidental hit. A little bit of a fumble. Another fumble. They actually deal 2 in contact damage. And I keep fumbling, and now I am 1 hit away from dying. So I was quite panicked. Is this going to be the moment where I throw this incredible pace away? And, oh my gosh. You know, I get the stagger, I get a full heal, and now the third phase where they're uneven. Now, the Cogwork Dancers, they're actually a little bit hard to keep track of in this phase, because when they do some of the screen wipe attacks, it's actually not fully consistent. I used a parry right there to avoid damage. The parry is actually quite good. It doesn't deal quite as much damage as the Silk Spear. It is about another parry to avoid a serious mishap right there. It deals about 1.6 or 0.6 needle damage times 4. So about 2.4 as compared to the Silk Spear's 3. But it gives you a bout of survivability that is hard to match. So now we have the really tragic phase of melting the last remaining one, the widowed Cogwork Dancer. I used the parry right there on the downwards attack in order to get some extra damage in. Now the parry is really strong, it gives you really good invincibility frames. But we are actually going to be swapping back to the Silk Spear for some of the arenas later, because the Silk Spear excels in the arenas. And you'll see why pretty soon. But the parry has its benefits as well. Once the room starts spinning, we're going to quit out to main menu, because finishing this fight is actually a hard save. So this just saves the time of the cutscene, really. It's quite a fast... quite a fast endeavor here to skip this one. And as you can see, we're gonna get the quest for the 3 melodies so that we can go pick them up. And then we're gonna head into the Cogwork Core. Now these cycles in the Cogwork Core are quite terrifying. I've done a pretty good job of learning them. As you can see, this first room, I've found a strat that works really well for me. Unless I do that, apparently. I forgot about that. I decided to play it a little safe, because I was on such a crazy pace. Because once again, we're early in the game's lifespan. The important thing is just that you don't die, really. And for this place, you have to keep your health up for the arena that's later. And we're going to open that shortcut for later. We don't actually need to open that shortcut anymore now that I think of it. So that's something I can route out for my future run. Well, there you go. There's like a 2-second time save that I just found for my run while processing the footage that we're observing. Now, we're going to head over to the Whispering Vaults, and on the way we have the arena with the vocal chant leader over here. And this is actually where I take my death in the run. It was completely embarrassing. I was trying to play aggressive with the parry, and it was just a big fumble. Now, luckily, this was actually not... As you can see, I completely fumbled my parry timings, and it was just a travesty. Now, luckily, I died very early in the arena, so it didn't actually lose me all that much time. I think this is about a 50-second time loss. And now it actually came in kind of clutch that I opened the shortcut that I just talked about that I can skip in the future, because I could ignore the remainder of this place and just do the fast backup. And this run back is actually not bad at all, especially if we're doing it at the speed which I was. So it was an unfortunate mistake to still have a death in the run. This could definitely have been a 107 if I did not take this death. But it did actually help me calm my nerves a little bit to not, you know, to be on a really, really good pace rather than an unprecedented insane pace, if that makes any sense. So I just started the arena again. We'll just call it a cocoon, full silk and health setup for the arena. As you can see, I'm still fumbling the parry timings on this enemy. This is something that I'm gonna have to go through. It might be worth to swap to the Silk Spear early here. Before the Cogwork Dancers on the way into the Citadel. But we do also want the parry for Trobio. So I'm gonna look into this routing a little bit more. Because this arena could definitely be really good. I parried the projectile right there in order to try to... Once again, the parry can work for multi-targets quite well as well if you get it right. But it's not as ideal as the other ability. But you can kind of still face tank because you get enough silk on the enemies to heal in between the waves. And now we have the Vault Master in the background jumping forward. And this one we can dispatch quite easily. It's kind of like fighting the Widow, really. And now we can head into the Whispering Vaults. Now I have a second needle upgrade to get in my route. We don't actually know if the second needle upgrade is faster. It's very likely that it's slightly slower. But it actually is still pretty good to get because it decreases the RNG in the run quite a lot. Especially in fights like Trobio. And so on, where they go under the arena and you can't really damage them for a lot of their attacks. So a fight for stuff like that, doing the fight faster with more damage output is not only like saving time directly through a faster fight, but it is also saving time through less time on average lost to bad RNG, if that makes any sense at all. Really, basically, I'm saying that going faster helps you go faster, which is genius. Truly a philosopher of our times, you know, this Blue SR person. Anyway, so we're gonna do the oil puzzle right here, really quickly, hopefully. I was fumbling the movement here. I was getting a little bit nervous, which is understandable, because getting a good pace through the mist is like quite terrifying, really. Like my hands started shaking quite intensely, and I started fumbling a lot of the boss fights. Because, you know, the run is so hard. The fights are so difficult and easy to mess up. So it's very easy to get nervous, especially when you're on world record pace. Especially when you're ahead of world record by 2 minutes, which I was not currently, but I was at that point in the run before I died. Now, a fun fact, you can actually pick up that quill if you don't have a quill already, and it's red. So it's a different quill that you get in the inventory. It's kind of cool. Now right here, we are going to open the shortcut to Trobio, and we are going to race down to Eira, our beautiful Bellbeast friend. And you can actually use the taunt to call the Bellbeast to save a little time. And we are going to sit on a bench right here. And then we are going to go to Bellhart for the Bellbeast station that we unlocked slightly earlier. Now the objective of this is just to use the oil that we just picked up and get the needle upgrade right away. And this is going to save us tremendous amounts of time in Trobio and the High Hall's Gauntlet Arena, the Conductor's Melody Arena, which is the biggest choke point in the run. It's the hardest section, as well as a really long, it's like a 2 or 3 minute long arena. It's basically a coliseum, really, if we're comparing to Hollow Knight, that you have to do. And it is brutal. I've lost... Just this day where I did this run, I lost 2 world record paces to the High Halls Arena. Which was very unfortunate, but then I got this one, I guess, so it all worked out in the end, I suppose. But now we're going to fight Trobio. Now, Trobio, we actually want the parry skill. It's quite useful, because he has the tornado attack where you can't really damage him. But you can actually parry the tornado, and you can get a good bit of damage on an otherwise very undamageable attack. So that's pretty cool. Now, I was really nervous. This is another one of my choke points. I'm not really that good at the Trobio fight. This was one that I first tried in my casual playthrough, but I'm struggling with it in speedruns because he's very unpredictable. It's kind of like fighting Grey Prince Zote in that sense. I mistimed the parry right there. And he's got a... There you go. There's a parry on the tornado. As you can see, it's a pretty good way to counter it. I was on 1 HP. It was panic. Close calls. But you know, they say health is a resource. And the only health that matters really is the last one, so... Turns out we made it. You can definitely play this fight a bit aggressive. I decided to face tank his body right there to avoid the double damage from the explosion. And then I immediately just face tanked one of the party bombs that he threw out. Now playing this fight aggressive is terrifying. There's the phase change. I managed to get a stagger, so I decided to take a heal. This is a fight that I need to practice because I can definitely get a lot faster if I... and more consistent. Once again, I was down to one hit to a double hit attack. I got really close to dying right there. I decided to take a very panicked heal in the corner right there. Oh, it's just complete terrible. This fight is... I played it so badly. And I was just, please die, Trobio. I'm so nervous. I was, at this point, I think this was the most impacted by nerves I was in any fight. Except for maybe the Conductor Arena. And maybe Lace, actually. And maybe Grand Silk Mother. But anyway, I passed Trobio. We survived somehow. It wasn't like a very good fight or anything, but we made it. So that's very, very exciting. Now we do actually pick up pick up Trobio's Claw Mirror right there, because it is just on the way. So you might as well pick it up. Now we actually have to fight Trobio in order to get the Harpoon ability, which is required to beat the game. So we take this elevator down from Trobio. And then when the elevator reaches the bottom, we hit it back up because we're going to be going under the elevator later. And now we're going to go get the Harpoon ability, which is going to revolutionize our moveset once again. I've found a pretty good path through this room. This guy is a little awkward to dodge. I kind of messed up by climbing on the wall right there. But as we go, I'm internalizing these rooms a lot better. Now right here, I'm actually going to bench to swap to the Silk Spear. I decided to do that last second. It didn't actually lose me time to do that little run back because the area title card was still playing and you can't bench doing that. Now for this section, I've actually gotten pretty good at the movement. We can do a drop here and then just inch to the right, and then you can just make it all the way down in one go. And these lava cycles right here are quite satisfying as well. You know, you can barely squeeze past these two enemies right there and just keep going full send on the lava. You can make this final cycle, but if you mess up, you take double damage and hazard respawn somewhere. So it's better to just not go for it and tank the explosion. Now luckily getting the ability is actually a full heal and a full silk canister. So I was quite okay with taking damage here. And we're just going to sprint through the lava right there. And now we have the Harpoon ability. Just like that. Which is pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with it. In general, I'm quite proud of this run. I'm finally getting the movement down to a level where I'm going full speed, like, pretty much at all times. So it's going to be interesting to see how much further we can take the run. I definitely think that sub 1 hour is going to happen. The question is when, really. Because I think at this point, now that there's only... like, right now with the current abilities I have as a runner, I can probably get a 106, maybe a 105, if I get a really good run. Considering there's 1 minute of death, and then, as you can see, the Silk Spear with the Needle 2 upgrade is quite insanely strong. We can just clear some of these waves immediately with it. Here I took a little fumble, I completely missed my Silk Spear, which was a little awkward, but you can kind of kill these ones in like 1 or 2 hits as well. Now the Harpoon is really nice for these, and I gotta watch out for the big boy, so that I don't die. Accidentally almost did there. But we were okay. Once again, we can use the Harpoon on these to kill them very quickly. And that's that arena done. As you can see, the Silk Spear has a lot of benefits here in this arena. So I actually decided to go back for a safety bench here. This was about a 5-second time sink. But I think it's quite worth it. Because right now, you know, not dying is really what matters most in this run. And now we get to do this climb movement, which is kind of fun. I found out a pretty good strat for this one. And here I take this drop pretty aggressively. And now we're gonna go back into the vault, the Whispering Vaults, to get the Vault Keeper Cylinder for the first melody that we're gonna get in the run. We have some fun movement right here that I fumbled a little bit because I was nervous and I learned it recently. Now the Vault Keeper Cylinder is only accessible through this bottom path, so we actually have to go through the underworks to get it. And we are gonna enter back into the Whispering Vaults on the other side. Now here's the cylinder right there. Across this door. Right there is the cylinder pickup. Very, very nice. And that's 1 out of 3. We still need to learn the melody at the NPC up here. So we are going to be climbing back up this area. Once again, I'm trying to go as aggressive as I can. We're hitting these blocks in order to clear a path for us. And, you know, I'm schmoving a little bit. We're going at as fast as I possibly can while not messing up completely. And that fastness is going to increase over time. But for now, I think this is pretty good. So right there, we got the Vault Keeper's melody. At this point, I was about, I think, 1 minute ahead of record. So I was still like, oh, I'm in this. You know, I thought I fumbled in that other arena right there. But it turns out I was actually quite okay. So we play the needle in right here to learn the melody. And that's 1 out of 3. And now I got really nervous because now we were going to do the Cogworks, the Architect's melody. And for this one, I learned some pretty insane strats recently. You know the big platforming section at the top on the way up to the puzzle? Well, we can skip almost all of it with the float and the harpoon ability that we just got. It is quite insane. But these strategies are quite hard and they're very easy to mess up in a run. Now, luckily in the new update for Silksong, the first patch the Team Cherry released, the cogs actually deal 1 damage. Which is a big relief. Oh, I accidentally hit the lever here with the harpoon, so I just re-entered the room to fix that. It was a little stupid time loss, but I'm glad I thought of the room re-enter to skip the animations right there. And we are going to be making our way back through the Cogworks. I almost took a really stupid fumble right there, but I did lose a health, which was a little scary. And I have some cool movement right there with the harpoon. As you can see, when you pogo something, when you hit some cog with the harpoons, you actually get some height. And we can use that to our advantage. I decided to open this shortcut just in case. I don't really know why, because if we die here, the run is basically over. And now we have this section, which is terrifying. It is actually quite consistent, but it's really hard to do under pressure. Now, first of all, we harpoon this guy. And then we harpoon these. We wait for our silk to recharge and harpoon these. And now we pogo. I think I messed it up here. Yeah. But there's this really tight squeeze. And it sucks if you mess it up at the start because you go all the way down to the bottom. So I probably lost like 10 seconds there. Maybe a little more actually. You can probably squeeze out a solid 30 seconds more out of this segment by just playing it full speed. As you can see here, the diagonal pogo is really awkward for these squeezes. And there is a little jump you can do here. It's actually super awkward to get up there. And now we're just gonna hit this one time to open the door enough for us to pass. And now there's more harpoon silliness. Now here it's a little awkward because the float actually doesn't always turn around really quickly. So I was fumbling a little here. I was very panicked. I decided I needed a bit more height. And here we pogo. And this is the choke point. This one is so scary. But I managed to fly over. We harpoon. And then we harpoon the wall. And we made it. And now we have to solve the puzzle. Now this puzzle right here is actually the same every time. So you just have to input the correct options. Now I forgot one in the first tower. And here I hit one by accident. So I fixed it real quick. I actually forgot one in the first tower. And then it was a mess. It was a complete mess. I was so nervous. And I didn't realize that the first tower wasn't done. So I was just completely, innocently carrying on, thinking that I was gonna finish the split really quickly, when in reality I had fumbled it quite severely. So I stand here and wait for the lever to come up, and I'm like, oh, where's the lever? Where's the platform, the pressure pad that I need to stand on? And I'm waiting, and it's not coming. Oh, I didn't hit the top one. So I just lost 10 seconds for no reason, from just being stupid. But that's what happens when you're nervous and you're on good pace. And in future runs, I guess we can get a better time save, I suppose. So there's that, I suppose. We have the melody right here. Definitely a standout moment. I get chills every time from this moment. Now we play the needle in and we learn the second melody, and now we have the biggest choke point in the run. At this point, I was very far ahead of world record. So I knew that if I did not die, we could break the sub 110 minute barrier, and we can maybe even break the sub 109 minute barrier. And maybe even, just maybe, break the sub 107, or the sub 108 minute barrier, sorry, get a 107. So I quit out there to get my full health back. For the run that we were about to do to the left side, to the high halls. I probably didn't actually need this quit out, but I've been struggling with this section quite a lot. So this drop is actually quite fun. You can get through to the bottom of this room quite easily and very rapidly, really. Oh, it's terrifying. At this point in the run, I remember this was like... At this point, it was like an hour and a half ago that this happened. I was shaking. My heart rate was going. I was like a little, you know what it's like when you're really nervous about something. You're very emotionally invested in the pace. You're like, oh, come on, please tell me this is it. I can get the world record. I've been trying to get better at this climb. I keep trying to upslash that enemy to get it to go past me, but it still nicks Hornet's hitbox, sadly. This enemy was a little annoying, so I just decided to do the harpoon on the wall and just eat the damage. Because I was like, at this point, just get to the next place. Because I was freaking out. And, you know, it's not a good time to be freaking out when you're about to do some platforming segment followed by an insanely hard combat gauntlet, followed by a quite a difficult platforming section. What am I saying? Quite a difficult 2 boss fights in a row. But as you can see, we go into the high halls. Here is a cycle skip that I've been able to get sometimes, where you can latch on to that first little harpoon. I tried to grapple this enemy right here to get up, and I managed to pull it off with a pogo. And we just keep going. We just keep going. No fear at this point. I'm going full send. I'm trying to have courage. We are a little bit inhibited speed-wise because you actually do need to... That's a little awkward, but I made it through. You actually do need to wait until your silk recharges, because I only have 1 silk heart right now. So Hornet only recharges 1 silk. I completely fumbled here. It was super awkward. But I was like, you know what? That's fine. And here, once again, I was a little too far away, and I was like, come on, just grapple the hook. A good save with the pogo for sure. Definitely a little awkward. Take the big drop through. You should see some of the strats that people have been finding for this place. Like, people have been optimizing so that you basically just fall and pogo and you go full speed. It is quite incredible. Now, we take the bench here. This is actually not necessarily a safety bench to heal, but it's actually going to be for a quit out later. Because we want to get the parry ability back equipped. So when we finish this arena, we can and get the melody, we can quit out and get the parry ability. Now this arena is the choke point of the run, especially the 2 big boys at the end. They're a lot more manageable with the parry, but the Silk Spear is just faster for this segment by quite a lot because the multi-target damage goes crazy. As you can see, we've equipped Trobio's mirror, by the way. It doesn't really do much for me right now, but once I learn the enemy wave spawns, I can position myself so that when I heal in between waves, I always damage an enemy with it. The Trobio mirror, the claw mirror, is actually not that good. Well, it deals decent damage. It's like the equivalent of a Silk Spear. As you can see there, it did a little bit, but the range of it is very short. It has a very, like, short area. Here I was 1 hit to this enemy, so I'm very glad that I didn't die, because otherwise I would have been in shambles. Honestly, another world record pace lost to this arena would have probably turned me into the Joker, I'm not gonna lie. 2 3-minute world record paces to the High Halls arena in 1 day would have turned me into the Joker. Now, the big boy by itself is fine. We really just, like, keep putting pressure. If they do that little summon attack, where they do the particles, we smile and we go yay, because that's free damage. You can just jump and keep wailing on them with the needle. Now the flying enemies, we're gonna probably optimize this arena a lot more further, but for now just upslashing them is like a very safe way. I accidentally healed right where an enemy spawned, And this is where I got a little scared, because I was on 3 HP, so it's not like I was really close to dying. But I was like, come on, I completely fumbled there. The Silk Spiders are really good to just up slash though. But hopefully you're seeing the reason why we swap to the spear here, because like we get situations like that where you can get a really good Silk Spear and it saves a lot of time. Now here is one more wave before the 2 big boys, so I really wanted to get to full health. So I decided to take a heal right there, and just hope that I kept that health until the 2 big boys, because I wanted to have 3 health worth of damage from 3 hits worth of health, and I failed. I was on 2. So I could take 2 hits. You really want to get to one side of them, but sometimes they don't really let you right away, which is super awkward. I probably should have gone under there. I decided to just face tank and take a heal in the corner. So that was quite terrifying. And now I could go aggressive mode. But it was definitely a bit of a fumble. I got so scared there. I got hit once again. Keep playing semi-aggressive. Now I was 1-on-1 hit, and I was like, you know what, please, just die. And whew, we made it. We absolutely made it. And on 1 HP too, because they do call me Blue 1 HP SR, after all. But you know, health is a resource, I suppose, is what I'll tell myself to cope. Now here we get the 3rd melody from the conductor, as they hum their little tune. And at this point I was getting really nervous. Like, we had made it through the hardest point in the run, but I could always die to the lace fight. There wasn't much of a chance that I died to Grand Silk Mother, because she's kinda easy. Well, you can always fumble, and she does have that one attack that deals 3 damage. I quit out right there. I should have done it right away, but I forgot to do it until I remembered to do it. Oh, the commentary track is so good. He's explaining so well. I forgot to do it until I remembered to do it. And I swapped back to the parry. And you're gonna see the utility of the parry on the lace fight. It is quite ridiculous how strong it is. Now, I didn't want to do the harpoon tech where you harpoon through them, because I did not want to accidentally mess it up and get hit, so that I lost my health before lace. And here, we are going to sing the melody, and I will now let past me, the live me while I was recording this, take the voiceover, because I actually unmuted myself and started talking. So, enjoy their commentary of the rest of the run, my live commentary as I did the run, as I was insanely nervous. But I hope my little voiceover added some new information, and maybe taught you a thing or two about Silksong speedrunning that you didn't know before. This early speedrun push has been such an exciting process to see everyone come together to discover things and route out routes and discover strategies and all of that. It is quite wonderful, and I'm glad I finally got to contribute something to the speedrunning community for once, because I've actually found quite a lot of cool stuff. So, as we finish the threefold melody right here, we're about to fight Lace, and the run is about to reach its final chapter. And at this point, I was insanely nervous. But I thought that if I just locked in and did what I had to, and just fought the fight like normal, or tried to at least, we were going to be fine. So without further ado, I'll give over the voiceover to live me as I was doing the run. Here we go. Okay, I'm speaking live now. Oh, I'm so nervous. Wish me luck, here we go. Come on. Don't do anything stupid. If you don't do anything stupid, you'll be okay. Oh. Good dodge. You parry that. My hands are so shaky. Oh my god. Oh my god. And that. And that. And that. Oh, don't. 2 dashes. And the jump. We heal. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, I'm so nervous. Oh, I'm so nervous. Oh, I'm so scared. I almost choked that. That was... Oh, that was such a panic lace fight. I'm usually a lot better at it. Here we go. Final boss. We got one more. Come on. It's gonna be the first ever sub 110. I think we're on maybe 108 pace. We could be at low 109 though. Come on. I'm so scared. I'm really nervous right now. My heart is racing. Grandmother Silk. This is the only thing we have left to do. Come on. Oh, I'm shaking. If I fumble this fight, I don't know if I can forgive myself. I genuinely don't know if I can forgive myself. Oh my god. Let's do this. Oh, he sucks at climbing. Oh my god, I'm so shaky I can't even do the basic movement. Alright, let's go. Lock in. I don't even know where to go here, man. Okay. Let's do this. Let's challenge the final boss. Come on. Come on. Just don't fuck up. You have the parry. Come on. Let's do this. Oh. Good stagger. I genuinely don't like that attack. Okay. Trobio mirror, go. Okay. I don't like this attack. Okay. Cursed. Cursed, but we take these. Phase 2. I'm so bad at Grandmother Silk right now. My hands are so shaky. Full health, full silk. Oh my god, I can't see what's happening. Oh, we heal. No reason to risk it. There's no reason to risk it. There's no reason to risk it. Good stagger. Come on. We're so close. We parry that one. Come on. Yes. Yes, I think we got a 108. This is it. Oh my god. Oh, that's world record by a lot. That's like 2 minutes. Holy shit, I did it. Oh my god. What's the final time? Come on. Find her. 105. 108. 108. I can't read. 108.15. It's a new world record. Oh, I'm so. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I pulled it off. And it still has a death. I can get a 107 so easily. There was like 1 minute of death. Oh, it's so improvable. Oh, I'm really proud of this one though. This is my first really good run. Wow. I played so well. Oh, I'm so proud of myself. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. Oh, I did it. Oh, my heart rate right now. I'm shaking. This run is so difficult. And we got a good... I played the mist well. I did such a good phantom fight. The city movement was shaky. That was okay. The first half was really good. Oh, I'm so proud of myself. Oh, and Hollow Knight Silksong, what a game. What a game. It's the best game ever made. I'm still in awe of it. Every day that passes. And what a joy it is to speedrun it too. Oh my goodness. I did it! Oh, that's a world record. That's a world record. 1:08:15. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, I'm so... Oh, dude, I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out. The run's getting so optimized. Oh, I'm gonna pass out, dude. I'm not gonna pass out, but like, come on. Oh, God. What a run. What a run. Thank you for watching. What you're watching right now is me reacting in the moment. I'll give it back to Future Blue. Hi, this is me, Future Blue here, editing the video right now. If you enjoyed this one, do subscribe and check out the live streams. I'm live mostly every day on both Twitch and YouTube, and we're gonna be trying to beat this record. So, if that sounds exciting to you, stop by. It'll be really fun, hopefully. And I would be very glad to have you along for the journey. Thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye.